I wanted to do another short video on his story. It's, a lot of this I've heard in the past, but when you get down to the nitty gritty of his buy-ins, at his highest point, he was playing $250K a hand, but his buy-in was $3 million. Well, that's like having 4 quarters in a buck, right? So he would work with 12 units, which would be like having 1,200, right? And how often are we able to play on any of my systems and never have to dip under that first 1,000, right? It's rare that you see me go into 8,000 or less, right? If I was playing with black chips only, right? If I was playing black chips only as $100 example, right? Or if I was doing it with $500 chips, how often am I ever reaching anything close to 5,000 expended, right? Very rare, if hardly ever. So to question that what he's done here is bullshit, not if he had the capital to do it. If he had a 3M buy-in and he was able to split it into 250s, that's 12 units. So based on what I've been able to show you, this is just an exponential reality of having the capital to do it. So it's very doable. And I talk about being able to go in ready to fight multiple battles of 40 units. Multiple battles having a 40 unit structure. Well, to be clear, the buy-in itself was 3M. So he probably had multiple buy-ins of 3M to be able to play for 250s. So he eventually amassed it up to 32M. So the larger that got, the more he had to fuck with, right? And it started out, I think, did he say? I think he says somewhere else. He started out with lower. Yeah, he obviously didn't just walk in and just start betting that much. It started from somewhere, right? And you just gradually increase it as your bankroll increases. But he never had to buy in with less than 12 units. And chances are, if it took his whole 12 units, he'd either have to rebuy or just take that stop loss, knowing that he can make units another way later. But I found that very interesting, that was his buy-in structure. You know, he's not buying in with 40 units. He's not buying in with 100 units. He's buying in with 12. And his ambition is just to win 1 or 2 a shoe and get out. When you're betting that much, why not? But that's why I always like to say, what is it over 30 days, no matter what you're getting? If you were getting $500 a day for 30 days, you'd have $15,000 fucking dollars. And if you did that for 3 months, you'd have $45,000. Tell you what happens when you're able to add a zero to that? Huh. Oh my God. Right? Exponential craziness, right? But I don't know that we think like that. We don't appreciate the value of a 1 or 2, you know. But it adds up if you're able to do it consistently over time. And I think that's his whole point. Just like I've said in all of my things, including my sample video at the top of my page, and how to exponentially increase it over a series of 4 months. It doesn't take long to start building it, but it has to start from humble beginnings, which he certainly did. But, you know, you're not going to just walk in and be rich overnight. You know what I'm saying? You have to put the work in. But if you think you're going to sit there all day and just collect, on a good night maybe, but most nights no. The longer you stay, the more chances you're putting yourself into damnation. So he goes on to say about the rest of his story here and how he did it over time, that he didn't cheat to do it. You know, what's his name? Tries to say he didn't get kicked out of that many places unless he was cheating. Well, not so. Anybody that's a verified, strong, advantage player is going to be asked to leave. And they don't even have to be making millions of dollars. They could be making, a few grand very quickly on blackjack, let's say. And shortly after, they're saying you can't play blackjack anymore, right? So, I believe him. And he's willing to show what his net losses are too, from places. He's not hiding behind his success. He's willing to tell you what he's done wrong. 150 plus bans from casinos, nationwide, probably worldwide. I remember this story. All these things are things I've heard on his pages about things he tried to do for his parents to show them what he did. This is what we got to be interested in here, guys. That he runs his own community here, Telegram community. Doesn't sell courses, shares techniques. He doesn't sell anything. He's basically giving you information. But the thing about playing under others' accounts, you'd have to have some credit limits that allows him to do that, right? For what he wants to do. He's got enough money that he doesn't have to do the little stuff. He's looking for whales that he can play under. So if you are one of them, congrats, you're rich. He'll set you up.